Secrets of Faith, a series based on Bible stories. Episode 3, The Sin of Cain. After their painful departure from Eden, Adam and Eve found themselves in a completely new world, far removed from the peace and abundance they had known. The lands outside the garden, now arid and harsh, presented unimaginable challenges. But with determination and faith, they began to build a new life. Eve, amidst adversity, received news of a miracle. She was pregnant. As her belly grew, hope was reborn in their hearts. Finally, the time for childbirth arrived, and amidst pain and wonder, she brought their firstborn into the world, Cain. Adam, with tears of joy, raised his face to the heavens and thanked God for the blessing of a son. Time passed, and the family grew with the arrival of another son, Abel. Days were filled with children's laughter and the unwavering love of proud parents. However, deep within Cain's heart, a seed of envy and resentment began to sprout. And so, in the land marked by adversity, the brothers' story would take a dark and tragic turn. As the years passed, Cain and Abel grew under the guidance of their parents in the barren lands outside of Eden. Adam taught his sons the art of working the land, cultivating the fields with sweat and effort. Cain, being the eldest, assumed the responsibility of leading and caring for the family. He worked tirelessly in the fields, tilling the land and tending to the livestock diligently. On the other hand, Abel showed a natural talent for sheep farming. From a young age, he showed compassion and dedication towards the animals and became a skilled shepherd. He spent his days caring for the flock, guiding them to green pastures and protecting them from the dangers of the desert. As the brothers grew, a subtle rivalry emerged between them. Cain, filled with pride in his position as the eldest and his laborious work in the land, longed for his father's approval and recognition. Meanwhile, Abel, humble and devoted to his work, found satisfaction in God's grace and the love of his family. Despite their differences, the brothers shared a deep and lasting bond. Together, they faced the challenges of life in the barren lands, finding comfort and mutual support in their fraternal bond. However, the events that lay ahead would test their relationship and change the course of history forever. When the time came to present offerings to God, Cain decided to offer the fruits of the earth, the result of his hard work in the fields. On the other hand, Abel chose the firstborn of his flock and offered them as a sacrifice, burning their fat as a sign of devotion. The brothers' hearts beat with hope as they awaited the divine verdict. God, in his infinite wisdom, looked favorably upon Abel's offering, recognizing his sincerity and devotion. However, Cain's offering did not find favor in the eyes of the Lord. Anger seized Cain's heart. His face reflected the storm of emotions tormenting him. Why did I not find divine favor, he wondered. The seed of resentment sprouted within him, casting a dark shadow over his soul. God, with his firm voice, approached Cain in the heat of his anger and asked,
"Why are you angry? Why is your face downcast? If you do what is right, you will be accepted."
But sin lurked at the door of his house, ready to consume him. In a moment of uncontrolled anger, blinded by envy and resentment, Cain did not heed the warning. Instead, he invited his innocent brother Abel to go out into the field. Once there, in a fit of rage and jealousy, Cain pounced upon Abel and took his life. When God sought out Abel, Cain responded with a cynical lie.
"I don't know. Am I my brother's keeper?"
But truth echoed in the heavens. The blood cried out for justice from the very ground that had absorbed it. Then God, in his infinite wisdom and justice, pronounced the curse upon Cain.
"Now you are under a curse and driven from the ground, which opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. When you work the ground, will no longer yield its crops for you. You will be a restless wanderer on the earth.
Marked by tragedy, Cain replied to the Almighty,
My punishment is more than I can bear.
his eyes fixed on the ground, his voice resonating in the stillness of the night. God looked upon the man marked by sin with compassion.
You are driving me from this land, and you will be deprived of my presence.
But divine justice manifested itself in words of promise and protection.
Not so,
Proclaimed God with a tone that defied the shadows lurking in the darkness.
if anyone kills Cain, he will suffer vengeance 7 times over.
With a gesture of mercy, God marked Cain, a sign that would protect him from the hand of the avenging man, a mark that would be his shield in a hostile world. And so, Cain departed from the presence of God, with the weight of his guilt and the burden of his destiny upon his shoulders. He crossed the boundaries of Eden, venturing into the land of Nod, east of all that was known. In the inhospitable deserts of Nod, Cain found refuge and founded a city. With his own hands, he built a home for himself and his descendants. And in the silence of the night, his voice mingled with the echo of creation as he called his city Enoch, in honor of his newborn son. His descendants flourished, some devoted to shepherding, others to music and metallurgy. Meanwhile, Adam and Eve, marked by the tragedy of their sons, found solace in the birth of Seth, whom they saw as a divine gift in place of Abel, who was taken by Cain. Seth's line continued with Enosh, who became the first man to invoke the name of God and walk the earth for hundreds of years, witnessing the birth and growth of his sons and daughters. And so, the line of descent extended from Enosh to Canaan, and from Canaan to Mahalalel, and from Mahalalel to Jared. Jared, a man of years and wisdom, fathered Enoch, a man whose relationship with the divine was as deep as the heavens' abysses. Enoch walked with God, and for 300 years, his presence illuminated the darkness of the earth. And then, the light of life descended upon Methuselah, whose age extended like the giant trees covering the earth. It was he who fathered Lamech, a man whose name would resonate in the pages of history with a shadow of tragedy and hope. Lamech, in turn, brought a child into the world and named him Noah, thinking, "He will comfort us in the labor and painful toil of our hands caused by the ground the Lord has cursed." A man destined to be a beacon of hope in the midst of darkness. For 595 years, Noah walked the earth, carrying with him the weight of a divine promise and humanity's destiny on his shoulders. Thank you for watching Secrets of Faith. If you enjoyed it, remember to subscribe and activate notifications so you don't miss the next episodes.